Hello, welcome to Mad Dodge Productions. I am the Mad Libertarian. Cabbage is supposed to join us. I believe he had to go get some tea or something. But 40 Ounce is here with me, and also Redbeard. How are you guys doing?
Horrible. But thank you for reminding me.
I'm alive. I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Horrible. That's a great way to start. Now I'm depressed.
Well, join the club, asshole.
40 Ounce. I don't know what part of California you're in, but did you see all the celebration last night from the Dodgers winning and going to the World Series?
Oh no, I don't. I don't live in the biggest of towns, so I didn't notice much.
Yeah, I guess the streets of LA were flooded with people just out on the street celebrating. I saw a dude with a tuba, like playing music out there and shit.
The fuck? Tuba.
A fucking tuba.
Oh god. Wow,
So,
they must have been very proud of their Dodgers.
Yeah, to play the tuba. What the fuck? Okay. We are not celebrating the Dodger win today. What we're talking about is Catalonia and Brexit. I think we'll open with Catalonian secession since Cabbage hasn't joined yet, and Brexit seems to be his passionate topic. I wanted to hear him rant about that for a little bit. But before we start with Catalonia, you guys do have channels. Go ahead and tell everybody what they are.
Well, find me on the YouTube at youtube.com/redbeard1337. 40 Ounce?
Ah, yes, I am 40 Ounce. You can also find me on YouTube. You probably won't, but, have fun trying.
Actually, yeah, it is very hard to find you on YouTube for whatever reason.
Yeah, I don't fucking know why.
It's the man keeping you down, dude.
It is. I need reparations.
All right, do I sound okay to you? The chat said I was roboting a bit. So
You're roboting. You sound like shit.
Yeah. I can read the first paragraph or so of this article, and you can re-jump in really quick. Okay, never mind. He's already gone. Great. Well, I guess I'll just start reading this, I suppose. So this is from NPR.org. So the headline reads, Spain moves to strip Catalonia's autonomy after secession shutdown. So Spain was preparing to impose direct rule over semi-autonomous Catalonia after the region's leader, Carlos Pigmalion, I don't know, it's not even French, he's Spanish, I don't fucking know how you say that name, declined to categorically renounce an independence referendum, the Prime Minister's office announced on Thursday. Spain's government said it would hold a special cabinet meeting to, quote, approve the measures that will be sent to the Senate to protect the general interest of all Spaniards, unquote. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Am I sounding better?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to call them all Spaniards, but what about the Catalonians that voted in favor of leaving? They're not protecting their rights.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess this is all a really subjective definition of what a Spaniard is. To the Spanish government, I'm sure a Catalonian is a Spaniard, but to a Catalonian is no Spaniard. So,
Right.
I don't know. It's interesting. But a meeting to approve the measures that will be sent to the Senate. So I suspect that not many measures are going to be sent to the Senate, seeing as how they're probably going to want to keep Catalonia within their hold.
Yeah, and going down even more, let's see, where were you?
Third paragraph. At the cabinet meeting.
Okay, yeah, and right after that, it says Madrid has given hegemon at a 10 a.m., 4 a.m. or 4 a.m. Eastern Time deadline to clarify the government's stance on a non-binding Declaration of Independence passed by the regional legislature following a successful referendum on secession. And they actually filed an ordinance of secession, which I didn't know last time I talked about this. That's pretty interesting to me.
Via their internal government or to the UN or?
The Catalonians, I think they ratified it with their internal government and they sent it along to Spain, I believe.
Interesting. I'm wondering what. You know, if I was a betting man, I'd say that Spain's going to implement some kind of article of a. I don't know, article insert number here of a. They're probably going to declare some form of a statewide or a nationwide emergency to suppress this, if I had to bet.
Yeah, no, and you're right, because you go on down here and it says that, but Redbeard, you're trying to say something. Go ahead.
I saw an article earlier, Article 155. You guys heard about that?
I don't know what it is specifically now.
Spain looks to trigger its quote nuclear option in the Catalan crisis. It's not literally a nuclear option, but
that's a shame.
It's called that because it is referred to as a nuclear option because it's last-ditch nature and politically explosive potential. But here, I'll share this article. I haven't actually read the article fully yet, but here's it's in the sidebar.
But yeah, continuing on with this article first, and then we'll check out that one. The Catalan leader insisted on keeping its options open, but that wasn't good enough for Spain's government, which had insisted on a no vote. In other words, they insist upon them staying. If the Madrid government continues to impede dialogue and continues with the repression, the Catalonian parliament could proceed, if it is considered opportune, to vote on a formal declaration of independence. Catalonia, which includes the city of Barcelona, is one of Spain's wealthiest and most culturally distinct regions. They voted overwhelmingly on October 1st to secede. Although only 40% of the people came out to vote, but I would point out that the cops are trying to stop them. So, how many people wanted to vote and refused to?
Yeah, I can't remember who said it. I think it might have been MC who said it in a previous stream, but most people probably knew that the police were going to come out in full force to actually stop this.
You okay?
Are those good chefs, Redbeard? All right, so the referendum went 90% in favor, but with only about half of the registered voters, so it was about 50%. Thursday's deadline from the Spanish government came after a similar one on Tuesday to give a yes or no vote. And the Catalonian prime minister had told them he wants to keep his options open. He didn't say yes or no. His vague response angered Spanish officials, with Deputy Prime Minister Santa Maria was his last name. That's the only part I could say that. Firing back, saying it wasn't very difficult to say yes or no. That was the question that was asked. The response shouldn't be complicated. Yeah, but he wants to talk to Madrid, but what does he want to talk to them about, really? If they're saying we want to leave, and Spain saying, no, you can't, what discussion is even valuable at that point?
The discussion that's most likely going to take place at the EU level. But honestly, they probably wouldn't let. Oh gosh, it's hard to say. It's hard to say unless you get a very specific, um, shall we say, a more in-depth look at the politics of Catalonia versus Spain. Which one is more progressive versus which one's more conservative or something like that. If Catalonia comes out to be, hypothetically speaking, more progressive and everything like that, then they'll obviously fall in line with more EU. They'll be willing to prop up EU referendums and all this other stuff. So the EU might hypothetically, in some weird alternate universe, support that. But it's hard to say because that might ultimately lead to long-term instability in Spain as well.
Well, and my would be, why not let them go? And MC's in the chat. I know he's shaking his head. But why not let them go, especially if they're going to stay in the EU? What are you really losing at that point?
Yeah. If this was, if this was any other period in time, if this was like 15 years ago or something, I would say let them go, because it's a relative time of peace. But given the migrant crisis and all the other bullshittery that's happening between the EU and Russia and all that other stuff, I'd say this is certainly not the most opportune time to let them off the leash.
And that's a power issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, just in the future, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Oh yeah, no, and you can go here in a second. Voice was like wondering what the fuck's going on. And pretty much from that article, what I see is going on is the power struggle is intensifying between Catalonia and the government there and the Spanish government in Madrid. So someone's going to have to win the power struggle, and Spain has the military might that Catalonia doesn't, if it comes to that.
Right.
And go ahead, Reggie.
Right. Well, I was saying, that's what this is. It's a power issue. Like, why would you? It's just for future proofing, having them in the future in case they do decide to pull out of the EU someday. Who knows what's going to happen? But you mentioned the military prowess of of Spain. Yeah, that's that article I sent was actually about them possibly using military against them.
Well,
that came out today.
Yeah, and I did click on that. We're going to read a little bit out of that. But eventually, all secession movements come down to that. Either you have the power to stand on your own, like MC has said to me in the past. You have to fight for your independence. And I see his point. Now, should you have to? No. You should be able to say, we're gone, and be gone. But that's not what's going to happen. Not in a political sense, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like for instance, Texas can't just, file for secession, or can't even file for secession. I don't even think there's a process in the Constitution anywhere. But hypothetically, Texas can't just leave the United States. Yet, most of our gold is stockpiled in Texas. Texas is. Do they produce or do they house nuclear weapons? There's something with the nuclear weapons process that goes down in Texas. Can't quite remember what that is, but there's a lot of strategic importance to Texas. So we can't quite just let them go their own way. There needs to be some sort of, compromise.
Well, I do believe that Texas can split itself into 4 states. So theoretically, couldn't they do that, have more power in the House and the Senate, and then vote to allow themselves to leave? You know what I mean? That would be a political trickery. But isn't that somewhat plausible?
It all depends on how the states are divided up. I mean, it all has to do with drawing lines in the sand. metaphorically speaking. You know, if, for instance, if California wants to split into multiple states, well, the northernmost portion is going to be conservative, and the southernmost portions, like Napa Valley and just SoCal at large, they're going to be far more liberal. And you're going to see the same kind of thing take effect even in Texas, one of the most conservative states. Parts and regions near Austin are going to be far more liberal versus the outlying regions, you know, far more conservative. And so you might actually get a blue state in the in the deep south, you know, if you were to split up Texas in literally just the right manner.
Well, I believe when Texas joined the Union, they had that put in. It's in the Texan Constitution. But California doesn't have that. So I don't think it's really feasible for California to split up along the same way.
Yeah.
And yeah, Redbeard, if you want to read a little bit out of that article, if not, I'll try to. But my wife just walked in, and all the kids are kind of going crazy behind me. So.
Oh boy. Okay, let's see here.
It's the Article 150 or the 155, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Churning crisis in Spain looks to reach yet another head this weekend as the government sets the wheels in motion to spin the autonomy of the wealthy northeastern region of Catalonia, a move not undertaken in the country's 42-year history of democracy. What's the latest? On Saturday, the government of Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy will hold an extraordinary cabinet meeting to decide the measures that may be taken the next few weeks to enact Article 155 of the federal constitution against Catalonia. The move comes after an unauthorized independence vote held in the region on October 1st, which resulted in addition to clashes between police and voters and a strong majority for independence from Spain. Catalan President Carles, fuck that, refused to heed the government's warning to back down this week. Article 155 gives the government power to strip away autonomy and to take over any region if certain conditions are met. One consequence could be the sacking of the Catalan government and the call for new elections. On Friday, Spain's main opposition party, the Socialists, said they would support a move by the ruling Popular Party to call for new elections in Catalonia, according to Reuters and other media outlets. What is the intent of Article 155? Just two paragraphs of Spain's 1978 constitution. It basically gives the central government the necessary powers to take over a region. Like I said before, it's referred to the nuclear option just because of the politically explosive potential and last-ditch nature. The provision was put in place as the country made its post-Franco transition to democracy to help maintain a power balance between the central government in Madrid and its 17 different regions, including Catalonia or Catalunya in the Catalan language. Let's see. Basically, if a region has acted in a manner that has gravely attacked the general interest of Spain, the government could adopt measures needed to force the region to comply. They must win approval in the Senate to put such measure in motion. So that's what people think are going to happen.
Yeah, and that I think what's funny is the quote unquote gravely attack the general interest of Spain. That's in quotations, so you can tell how vague that is.
Well,
Well,
exactly.
they would be greatly attacking it. That's a large portion of the tax base for Spain.
Yeah. No, yeah, they could say whatever the fuck they want. They're like it is attacking, the interests of Spain.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I wonder what kind of military force they would use. Let's hypothesize here. Would they roll in like a National Guard unit to put them down? Or would they be more even-handed with it?
Well, I suppose it depends what kind of resistance they meet.
Yeah, I would lead more towards the I'd lead more towards the National Guard. I don't think you're going to see any typical European police officers out there with their their pepper spray telling people to move along.
Move along now.
Yeah, Probably gonna see P90s or something along the streets. Oh God.
Well, the thing is, though, that will only stoke the revolution. Right now, they want to peacefully leave. You roll in troops, they're going to pick up arms themselves if they can get their hands on them.
Well,
I know this is Europe. It's not like America where everybody's got a gun, but...
Let's be honest. They're not going to fucking win.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, they'll probably just label any resistance movement a terrorist organization and just deal with them as swiftly and promptly as possible.
Right.
Of the Spanish government, so it's not going to last too long.
You really though? I mean, okay, if you were looking at the power structure in Ireland with British rule before the Troubles began, which Voice of One, dude, I'll throw the link out if you want to jump in. You would know more about this than me. But the Irish Republican Army was able to put up a fight for years and years against the British military and police forces. So why couldn't Catalonia stand a chance?
No, well, I mean, you could. Guerrilla warfare is always an option if you want to go there. But it's certainly not going to be pretty. And let's face it, the more troops you attack, the more troops you antagonize, the more troops are probably going to get deployed. And I don't think they would have any qualms with going to NATO or EU or something like that and asking for some kind of external help. If not with actual troops, then asking for actual supplies.
Well, Spain might do that, but wouldn't the UN look at it as a humanitarian issue, and they would be kind of against Spain at that point, right? You're putting down your citizens. You know what I mean?
I mean, not if people are planting nail bombs under cars. All it takes is an official statement from the government saying, yeah, they're inflicting great amounts of harm on our police force. They seem to be operating as if they were some kind of criminal syndicate. All it takes is that just the biggest of statements to even hint at that, and they've completely fucked their own movement. Yeah.
Well, in the beginning, they wouldn't be radicalized to be terrorists. In the beginning, I believe it would be the government, Spain, that would fire the first shot in this situation. And they kind of already did with their crackdown of the actual vote. They wouldn't even allow them to vote. I mean, they were hitting old women and shit with billy clubs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
You don't think stopping a peaceful protest or barring somebody the right to vote is a violation of their civil liberties?
Well, no, it is, but not if they're terrorists, right? And unfortunately, hypotheticals such as, NAP, they don't necessarily apply in this scenario, unfortunately.
Oh, you had to throw my nap under the bus, huh?
Well, no, I mean, right, if we're living in the perfect ideal world, I would say yes, NAP all the way, but unfortunately, that's, not the case. Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm trying to drag Catalonia out a little bit before we get to Brexit, because where the fuck's Cabbage?
Yeah, I don't fucking know. I'll try messaging him on... Oh, wait, no, I already did message him on Discord, like, fucking 20 minutes ago. Never mind.
But we could expand into secession in general. Is there any other places in the world that are looking like they might have a secession movement besides here in the U.S. with groups like Cascadia and, the South? They still have freaking Confederate secessionists. You know what I mean? There's like 10 of them, but they're there.
Well, there's a move in South Africa to create their own ethno-state, literally an ethno-state by the books. I'd have to bring up some articles or something really quick, but just off the top of my head, that's really the only place.
Yeah, do that. Is it the Now, is it the government that just wants to? Because they already reversed apartheid, and now they have extreme cases of um. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank here. But when for black people over white people, like white people can't even get jobs there, hardly anymore.
Yeah, pretty much. I found this article. I don't fucking know what it's even about, but I start reading it, I suppose. So this is from voanews.com. Looks like it's coming straight out of Johannesburg. So South Africa, excuse me, next general election is to happen on May 7th. Political analysts expect the ruling African National Congress to again triumph. Excuse me, can't fucking read right now. Hold on.
You act like this is a new thing.
It is. Yeah, I just learned to read today.
You know what's sad though? Actually, California has a hard time with their education system. Not to digress too much, but I lived in Cali until I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I came to Oregon, and they're like, "Yeah, he's way behind in reading. Like this kid hardly knows his ABCs." I was in Oregon for like a year, and I was in like I was in elementary school still. I was already almost a high school level reading. So I mean, yeah, there's something wrong with California.
Yeah, no, there is actually, and I'm a byproduct of that. Yay!
Yay!
What do you mean there's something wrong with California? California is the problem.
Yeah, that's also true.
I mean, quite frankly, I think all the other 49 states could actually make a legal, logical requirement to annex California.
Oh god, yeah, everyone just invade California again and reinstate a new government.
Oh no,
guess I wouldn't be
nothing
so
be it.
opposed.
It's not Mexico you need to put the wall across, it's fucking California.
Well, that's one and the same thing. It's you can just cut off California and the left and go down the south.
As long as you guys don't build the wall, like on the California border, all the way up, like the Nevada border, don't seal Oregon off with California, is what I'm trying to say. Don't stick me with them. Then I guess me and 40 will be in our own country. Well, I mean, I am for secession.
You guys don't seem, you're not Californians, though. You don't fucking think like the Californian government.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys need to find a different place.
Oh, trust me.
Because you're the minority there. I'm sorry. You're not going to change it.
Well, is there room in Voice's shed?
Voice, I've already told Voice I'm taking over part of his abode.
You do understand that anybody who comes here isn't leaving again.
Are you like a serial killer?
Have you seen that guy?
I'm just a frugal person who knows where to get free meat.
You see, if you ask someone if they're a serial killer and they say no, that's exactly what a serial killer would say.
It is.
Yeah, the problems with South Africa seem to be pretty extensive. I mean, they're slaughtering white farmers. There's giant slums that are just filled with white people. Yeah, and ever since the current South African government took over, it's all been going to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, pretty much.
So basically, Chicago.
Yeah.
I heard it's pretty bad.
Yeah. It's literally like socialism in full effect. The government's literally annexing people's redistributing people's property. to just like random basic bitches that don't know anything about fucking farming. It's literally copy and paste almost exactly what the fuck happened in Russia.
See, this is why you never let the help get in charge.
God damn it.
Oh, come on, like you didn't see that coming.
No, I didn't actually.
I'm trying real hard not to make it a racial issue with South Africa, because it isn't. But man, when they're like doing white genocide, it's hard not to make it a racial issue.
Well, no, it is a racial issue, though.
Just look at the economics. When the white people were in charge, it was doing good. Now, if the black people are in charge, it's gone to shit.
Well, it's because they're savages and they can't govern themselves. Silence. Dead silence. I love it.
No, we wanted to make sure everybody heard that last bit, you know.
Okay, so that was, well, was I serious or was I joking? We'll never know.
I think we'll do all right.
but no, that
many
is
of them dark fellas where he lives, boys.
well, it is true. Statistically, they do have a tougher time governing themselves.
Well, yeah,
In
the
Africa.
more tribalistic and small, kind of like the Middle East. They have a hard time. Also, yeah.
They believe magic is science, so you know.
Yeah, that doesn't fucking help, you know. God.
I just remember seeing that thing where in that fucking college we're going, yes, and this fucking voodoo guy can make a lightning strike someone, and you're sitting there going, she's fucking batshit crazy.
Wait, what the fuck? Where was this?
Do you not see that clip?
No! What the fuck?
No, there's a clip of who has it? You'll probably be able to see it. Just type into YouTube. College student thinks magic is science. Apparently, they want to, in a South African college, they want to decolonialize science because it's racist against the magic of Africans.
Okay.
They're fucking magic.
That's a
magic
scene
melanin.
here, guys. Move along.
Oh my god. So, right, she's talking about, like, what? So you can use magic to call down lightning strikes on your foes or something.
Yes. She says that can actually happen. It is scientifically proven.
It's scientifically proven, right? Yeah, and all it takes is the sacrifice, the sacrifice of like a 12-year-old virgin, and the heart of a cheetah with with a couple foreskins of some 6-year-olds. Yeah, that's it.
Jesus Christ, dude.
This is the thing. Like a college student.
Why can't they just sacrifice a goat? Wouldn't that be a lot easier?
No.
Here's the thing.
You need foreskins of children.
Dude, you fucking know it's true. But I'll find it.
There was actually another student at the back who stood up and said, "That's not correct. That's just a story." And the rest of the class made him apologize. Yeah, so science is white patriarchy.
It's fucking, oh my god, dude. I can't, oh my fucking god, I can't even right now. Why do we interact with these people? Fucking why?
Time to homeschool.
It's time to homeschool.
I think that would actually be worse for Africa. At least in colleges, they get some sort of education. But if you're being taught that this magic man can make you invincible by cutting off your testicles, that's probably not a good thing to be.
Yeah. Hold on. I want to actually look up cases where people think that they can fucking protect themselves with magic or something. This is just too fucking funny.
There's another story out of South Africa, and it was on Sargon's latest video about all cultures are equal. And there was this guy, there's this woman who fed the leader of the village the wrong type of fish, and he had her gang raped and then murdered in front of the entire village, and the body was left there for 2 days until the human rights organization came along and actually buried it for the wrong type of fish.
Fucking God.
It was in the Congo somewhere.
Jesus Christ.
Nice.
Fucking ridiculous.
All cultures are equal.
Yeah.
But 40, I was looking at that article, and it says, okay, so the ANC has been in power since the country's first democratic polls in '94, following decades of apartheid, with almost 66% of the vote during the last election. But people are saying that's going to fall significantly this year because of widespread dissatisfaction with the party's ability to deliver essential services and its failure to end massive unemployment and poverty. And they were also in several corruption scandals. Well, no shit. I mean, when you're colonized and you have somebody else building the infrastructure and running it and doing everything else, and then you decide, okay, well, we're not going to integrate the two cultures together and create a government, out of that. We're going to, massacre one side, all the white farmers and everybody that creates the food. And then we're going to run it however we want. Then you're going to have a failure, a massive failure. Like, it's going the way of, where's another African country that did this? Was it the Congo or something? Or Rwanda? And then after that, after they killed the white people, they were killing each other, right?
That would not fucking surprise me.
And it's like every year you hear about a new genocide in Africa. I mean, this is a reoccurring problem with that continent, and it's full of resources. It's full of diamonds, gold, silver. I mean, all this shit.
You know what the problem is? There are just too many Kangs fighting for control.
Yeah, actually. Yeah.
Because
and
they
do have a rich culture over there and traditions, but they just can't figure out economics, I guess. I don't know.
Well, that requires basic counting and mathematics skills. Quite complicated. Have you ever seen Coco the Monkey? Or whatever, was that the name? Maybe I should just stop talking for now.
Oh, no. I'm just reading. You can continue on.
I'm just trying to joke and make light of a situation, that's all.
Oh, yeah. No, and I'm just trying to wait on Cabbage. Man, he must have had to go across the whole freaking island to find some tea.
Did he literally say he was going to go get tea?
Oh, no.
No.
Oh.
I made that shit up.
Oh. Christ.
But he knew the start time. He must have passed out or something. I don't know. It's like, I don't know, midnight or going on midnight over there. But since Voice is here, like I brought up the IRA earlier, how were they able to fight the British for so long and actually gain independence in the end? And could the Catalonians learn how to be less like terrorists, but kind of do the same thing?
I don't think he's
Voice.
Hello.
Voice.
We need your Irish input.
Oh, he must have stepped away. Oh, it's coffee time. Oh, I need to check the side chat before I try and coax somebody into an answer, huh? What article are you reading? Is it a good one?
Me?
Yeah, you said you were reading.
Oh, I'm trying to find stories about like Africans and their weird fucking voodoo magic, but I can't find anything.
Oh, there's a good one. It's about you can find it on YouTube. I forgot what it's called exactly, but it's about their brain surgery they do.
Oh my fucking god! Do I even want to know?
So basically, they just hammer a fucking circle off the back of your skull, and then they leave it off, and your skin heals over, and so you have a soft spot to your brain.
Fucking why?
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's fucking disgusting. It was this on? Yeah, it was on YouTube. I forget. It was. They don't know why they do it. Come on now, they're not fucking doctors, but the witch doctor does it, and it looks disgusting.
I'm sure.
Well, let's be fair. We still perform lobotomies sometimes, and that is just massively fucked up.
Oh, I found it.
I kind of want to see, because it's so fucking funny. I've been like all over the internet, right? I've seen like legit videos of people in Africa like cannibalizing each other with like machetes and shit. But now I can like magically not find anything. What the shit?
I do have a story about. I believe he was a Mexican drug dealer, and he was blessed by, I don't remember by who, or maybe he was Haitian. That's right. He was blessed by a voodoo whatever, witch doctor, whatever they call him, and he literally believed he could not be killed at all, and he killed like 100 or 200 people and ate them and shit. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
you know, there's actually surprisingly there's a lot of stories actually that come out of Mexico. A lot of the cartels actually do partake in that voodoo bullshittery. There is some kind of Catholic saint or something, like some kind of saint of death. I don't even know what the fuck his or her name is, but they will legitimately like pray to the saint, and they'll do some kind of weird magic ritual, and they will literally think themselves invincible. It's
Who's
fucking
talking about?
ridiculous. We're just talking about like stupid fucking magic.
Yeah, he had some kind of amulet that was blessed by the witch doctor or whatever, and he thought that he was invincible until he got shot and killed. That experiment failed. But
the reason that magic doesn't work is because we're all poor white men. We can't get into Hogwarts. We can't get the correct training.
speak for yourself, Muggle. No.
Speaking of, our friend Coffee is going to a Hogwarts thing.
Wow, so this surgery is extraordinarily fucked up.
Where's 40 going?
Coffee.
Oh, Coffee.
Dude, they legit like straight cut this dude's fucking head open, and he's like still awake.
That's what I'm saying, man.
It's sort of like Red Dragon, then. If you remember the scene from that film, where Hannibal Lecter cut open the guy's head and fried a bit of his brain and then ate it.
How is this on YouTube, but like political videos get taken down?
Yeah, no, that's funny that you. I wonder, was there a commercial at the beginning? Is it monetized? Because my last red eye was perfectly fine. Nobody said any really bad stuff. But I put a Pepe meme as my thumbnail, and then I looked today. Like I did that yesterday. I looked today, and it's limited commercials now, just because of the back. It wasn't even the frog's face. It's the back of the frog, and he's got his shoulders shrugged, and there's a sign at a fork in the road that says "Love and Hate." I was like, "Oh, that's hilarious! I'll use that." And that's
Yeah, I saw that.
okay. What the hell?
You know, I actually, it just got in the mail my Google AdSense PIN number.
Oh shit!
Yeah, they could, because like apparently now I've made so much that I qualify to put the PIN number in and verify my address, and so I logged in. I'm like, how much have I fucking made? And $12.69. So I can't even take
to the movies by yourself.
Yeah, I could go to the movies and get a small popcorn. But I'm gonna have to pay out of pocket for the fucking small soda, you know.
Yeah. Well, if you're crafty enough, you can just go to the dollar store nearby, like I do. Just
Oh,
stick
yeah,
a
there's
stick a
always-
Mountain Dew down your pants, pretend you have to
There's
keep
nothing-
going.
Yes, man. Just
Is that like
carry,
over a month or over a year?
you carry a small satchel in, right? And then if anyone gives you shit, you say you identify as a woman.
It is California.
Well, see, that's why you bring your girlfriend. You can always put your lollipops in a place that were meant to fit.
I ain't paying for another person to go see a movie. That's a lot of money.
Boy, you're a cheap bastard. Are you sure you're not Scottish?
Oh, maybe a little
Man.
bit. I don't know.
Redbeard, I really must have lucked out because I got one video that hit over 11,000 views, and that at the beginning. So I was monetized from pretty much the first few videos I put out. I haven't made enough to get my AdSense money either, but I'm up to $30. Woohoo!
Yeah, that's
Holy
funny.
shit, did this actually fucking happen? No.
40, what are you doing? You're derailing. Well, actually, we just derailed, but you're continuing
Okay, right.
derailing.
So did you guys by chance hear anything about Trump saying how he was going to declassify the papers related to the JFK assassination?
I heard
okay.
something about that, yeah.
Dude,
A few weeks ago.
A quick correction. He wasn't going to declassify them. This has been in, the law was passed by Congress that within 20 years, they wanted all those papers declassified. And the 20-year mark is on the 22nd of this month.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so unless President Trump, I wasn't going to say Mr. Trump, but that's not really the proper way to do it. Unless the president says no, they will unredacted and in full.
and
so
well,
he-
Trump said he was going to release them.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah. I also heard he was gonna do something else as well.
They're
I mean,
down
we
in the
don't
chat
need
if you
them
want
to
to
be-
look at them.
I mean, we don't need them to be
Sorry.
declassified. Hillary already told us who done it. It was the Russians.
Yes, exactly.
We'll put the link to these declassified files in the chat in just a moment. I just need to go down there. There you are. Should be in the chat. That's some crazy shit, dude. Oh my god. Finally gonna figure out who killed JFK.
It was a bullet.
Okay, that makes sense. Everything is coming together now.
Well, we were talking about this on Thorne's channel last night. That's what her stream was about that I was on. And Logical Lion came up with a theory. So I guess some people heard shots from down low at street level. And he said there was a sewer grate right there by where the president's motorcade was going by that somebody could have hidden. It was almost like Stephen King's It, you know, the big one that you could pull a
No,
child.
that's straight out of an episode of X-Files where it goes into Cancer Man's history, and that's where he does the shooting of JFK from.
The sewer?
Oh, so Logical stole that shit from the X-Files.
He
Okay.
did, yes.
Well, that's a pretty good theory, though. You got to give it to the X-Files then.
Wow. Well, that's actually, I mean, a fucking, I don't know, dude. I mean, apparently, by all accounts, Oswald wasn't the greatest fucking shot, even when he was in the military, so, I mean, I suppose that makes sense. Someone was a little more up close and personal.
Yeah, and that's
It was
really
probably
interesting
his wife.
because I knew he was a veteran. I thought he scored higher on his shooting test than he did, apparently. So 3 shots, 2 hits, and at a moving target, a bolt action rifle from a raised position in like a freaking storage area or some shit. That really sounds complicated to me. And he came up with this all on his own. He's like, this is a great idea.
Yeah.
No exit route, no nothing. I'm going to kill the president and be famous. Yay. That worked well for John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Oswald didn't jump out of the building on his way out.
Yeah, he also he also wasn't classy, and he didn't do a Caesar quote. Like,
I mean, he wasn't even wearing an Antifa flag, for fuck's sake.
all right, well, I don't know if Cabbage is going to show up. So he wanted to talk about Brexit, and that's one of the subjects in the title of the stream. So we might as well touch on
Well,
it.
I'm asking you.
Oh, you asked the question? I didn't hear you.
No, he's yelling at Jim.
Oh, okay. But what do you think? They want now. So England has offered, or the UK had offered, 20 billion to get out of the European Union, right? And the European Union wants 60 billion.
Yeah.
Or however.
Well,
how
actually,
far?
I think that was just Macron that said that.
No, in today's papers, there was actually a thing where there's actually leaked documents from the May's cabinet that they're actually going to do they've been planning to do a complete breakaway and no deal Brexit for months now.
Really?
So, yeah, that came out today.
Well, but wait, okay, hold on. So they've been planning to do that for months. So here's my question. Isn't your guys' next council meeting in like November, December? So why fucking wait until then? If it even is going to happen then?
Well, see, I think there's a lot of, again, like politics, you have what they're saying out openly, and then you have what they're discussing in private. And I think what they're discussing, in private, that the country would be better off with a hard no-deal Brexit rather than this soft shit. And they're only going to go along with this soft shit to make sure they've got all their ducks in line until the time is right, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do know what you mean.
Well,
so if they go through with the hard Brexit, are they going to cough up the 60 and or 20? I keep wanting to say pounds. Are they going to cough up the 20 euros?
No, in a no deal Brexit, no.
Oh, really? So then that means they're probably most likely going to forfeit all trading rights with the EU, huh? If they're going to fuck them that hard.
Well, Germany will get fucked a lot harder than we will.
Oh yeah, they will. Well, I mean, if the UK decides to actually break away, I have a feeling they will rival Germany in terms of actual manufacturing. Because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know much about the topography and like the geopolitics of the UK, but I'm pretty sure that the northern portion of the UK used to be entirely dedicated almost to fishing and industry and things like that. If you were to jumpstart those hollowed out factories, you could probably outproduce Germany.
Well, the one thing I would say is that where we fucked up in ourselves was that we took away from British mining. I mean, now we get the majority of our steel from China, and what we should be doing is reopening the mines. And yes, if any of the green people are watching, fuck the environment. The human race isn't going to be around long enough to die from it. We should open the mines again, and every company in the UK has to buy from the British mines the steel, and then anything above that comes from China. You know, we screwed ourselves and we closed the mines, you know. That took a lot of the big labour force out.
Well, okay, so England is an island. How much do you guys have to import to stay afloat? And if the EU decides not to trade with you at all because you stiffed them on the bill, who are you going to get your goods from other than the US? It's
simple. There is, in the EU, there is 26 with us, but we're believing, so it'll be 25 or something. There are 125 other countries we can deal with. The unfortunate thing that the EU has to realise, especially since 10 of the countries in the EU are broke, is that there's a lot more fish in the sea. We're not beholden to these fuckers.
Yeah.
Hey, Cabbage, your mic working now? And welcome. You're a wee bit late.
Yeah, mate.
It's all good, eh?
Well, I didn't realize. I thought you were starting at midnight.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah, my bad. I thought I told you 2 or 3 my time. So, yeah, my bad. I apologize.
Okay. Well, No, no
It's all
harm
right. We
done.
can't tell time
That's
over
all
here.
right. I apologize for being late. Yeah.
Well, so
all
do you really think May is going to institute the kind of like economic protectionism to just completely sever ties with the EU? I mean, there's not going to be
No, but
any trading deals?
that's not even what's being proposed. What's being proposed is WTO guidelines. So it just means that there's a fixed tariff, and that's it. So that's what a hard Brexit is.
So you're still going to be able to trade on an individual basis with some of these countries?
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as it depends on what how draconian the European Union wants to be. If they want to be petty, then they can be petty.
Yeah.
It won't be us doing it.
You know Germany's going to be salty.
No, of course, yeah, and the French. But then again, the French are always salty.
Well, you know what happens when Germany gets mad, right? All of Europe pays for it, so you might not want to fuck with them too hard.
Yeah, they jumpstart a war and everyone advances 20 years technologically.
And the one thing we definitely don't want to see is a European army. I mean, that would be effectively putting the entire European arms on the border of, on the coast of Britain. I mean, it would be like Germany getting an army, but without having to go through the Rhineland and, across Europe.
Yeah. Everyone willingly joins.
Disastrous.
You know what? Cabbage, that's a great point. They've won through peace what Hitler couldn't win through war, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Precisely.
If only he was just a little more clever.
Yeah. Well, just took the EU to make it happen. Although, having said that, oddly enough, it was Hitler who coined the phrase European Economic Community, which is the second phase of what Europe was. It went from the common market to the EEC, and then it became the EU. But the second phase was the bit where Hitler kind of figured he'd taken enough. You know what I mean? Even Hitler didn't go as far as the EU in his memoirs.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
swear to God, they are all legitimate Nazis. I swear to God, they are. They're whole secret Nazis at the EU.
No, but that being said, Cabbage, it was the UK that vetoed the European army numerous times. Without your voice, they're going to have it.
Well, still have NATO. There's still the issues of NATO. And if the Europeans were just fucking... Look, if they won't even pay up for NATO, what chance is there of paying for their own army? They'll all default on it. That's what they do.
That's very true. Actually, I didn't even think of that.
What nations are nuclear there, as in they have nuclear weapons?
French. Only the French. Yeah, well, we have them, and so that's why we have them, because the French do.
Well, then, Cabbage, the EU army, the military, would have nuclear weapons because they get them from France.
Yeah, they would be de facto under Germany's control.
Mm-hmm. And just, yeah, not just bombs, but, ICBM, medium-range ballistic missiles. MRBs.
Yeah, and a giant superstate. They would be a bigger economy than the UK's. They would have a bigger military force and nuclear weapons. I don't know if that.
But we got nukes too. We can fire back. Anyway, no one's going to threaten a nuclear exchange. It'll just be retarded. It wouldn't make any sense.
No. Well, I mean, I think the greatest threat would be literally the fucking raping and pillaging of Eastern European resources. And from what I know, there are so many French companies over in Eastern Europe that will literally just siphon off natural gas and sell it back to the citizens, and then also import it right back to France. So I mean, if that falls under this hypothetical European superstate, I mean, they probably won't have to rely on Russia much longer.
Yeah, Russian oil and the gas supplies are so significant. They're not going to end anytime soon. That's why they built the second pipeline that goes through Austria, so it could avoid, it goes around Ukraine.
I didn't even know about that one.
Yeah, they built the second one because, the Ukrainians were basically tapping off the and stealing the resource themselves.
Those goddamn Ukrainians.
No, but that brings up another issue, the Russian question. How are they going to feel about a European superstate along their border?
Well, exactly. This has always been the problem, and Ukraine was always meant to be the buffer zone. It was meant to be, you know, kind of independent, and nobody fucks with it. And then the European Union started fucking with it, and you know that whole Crimea thing started kicking off.
Yeah.
So-called neo-Nazis suddenly appeared overnight.
Yeah.
And I challenge anybody to find any stories about the rise of neo-Nazism before that. You know, I mean, you'd expect there to be stories about, you know, the growth of neo-Nazis and things like that in Ukraine. Nothing. A single solitary story about it. And so all of a sudden, a bunch of fully armed neo-Nazis turn up. It's a miracle.
Well, yeah, the Golden Dawn, is that in Greece? Or is that...
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's Greece.
And they're neo-Nazis, and they have seats in the House, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but at least they've been a homegrown thing forever. And don't forget, you know, fascism. So does Spain, so does Portugal, so does, you know, Italy, and France, and Germany.
Yeah.
They're all fucking Nazis. That's why we got nothing in common with them. I don't understand why we ever joined their ridiculous party, you know, plan, whatever the hell it was meant to be.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can see the benefits of a common market. The reason you guys originally joined, but it turned into something just completely absurd. Gosh.
Well, I think it was always meant to be a pseudo United States in Europe. They always had that goal, in my opinion.
Yeah, that is actually something I've noticed that is actually extremely strange. The European Union has this fascination of trying to adapt to the kind of Americana model in terms of governance and unity, but culturally the Americans try and be like Europeans. It's very fucking strange.
No, but it's not. The European Union is the exact opposite. It's the antithesis of what the US was founded upon, which was freedom of speech, you know, freedom of to bear arms and all that. There's nothing like that in the European Constitution. You know, the Lisbon Treaty, as they had to rename it because nobody wanted the fucking constitution that they offered. So, you know.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why the Europeans have such this odd concept that they all have to unite in order to keep things peaceful. You know, you can be separate and not kill each other. I know it's a weird concept, you know, but
Exactly. It's nonsense. It's absolute bollocks. It's totally. It's like, you know, like saying that the United States only survives. The states aren't fighting amongst each other because there's a federal government. Absolute horseshit. You know, I've got a stone here and I don't see any lions. Here's my fucking lion scaring stone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It means nothing. It's just backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the euro anything for Britain, 1 iota. We've just fed in a whole bunch of cash for some ridiculously overextended projects. And, you know, by the time we got out. But poor old Catalonia, I mean, there. And it's weird, right? Because Article 5 of the European, whatever the hell it is. It's not a constitution, but, you know, the treaties or whatever. But the government, now, the Euro...
Can you guys still hear him, or is it just me? I can't hear him anymore, so.
AMC, turn off your control board.
Yeah, AMC.
Yeah, it's a control thing. I keep telling you.
Oh, go ahead. I need you cut off.
Every time control room is added, it's fucked. Yeah, well, you know, people want to fuck about.
But okay, so right now Poland is able to keep the refugees out, but they're also in the EU. With an European army, would they still be able to have autonomous borders when it comes to the refugees? I don't think they would.
Well, I mean, Well, I trust you guys have heard the news that Poland actually stands a chance at suing Germany for reparations for World War II, right?
No, I didn't hear that. That's interesting.
Yeah, apparently Poland's going to actually try and sue Germany for reparations, believe it or not. So, if anything, that'll surely put a stick up the ass of Germany.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I wonder how much. Do you know how much they're asking for? A shit ton, I'm guessing.
I can look really quick.
But Voice, what do you think about a European army right at the doorstep of the UK? Do you like that idea?
Oh my god.
No. Oh, sorry, you wanted more. It's not going to happen, because if they try to build this war, first of all, Russia's going to go on the defensive, and it'll put all its military, as much military as it has to, across its borders, and it'll want to protect that. Then you'll have the UK will probably have some sort of response to it. Further down, you'll have the countries that aren't in the EU. They're going to have something to say about it. Like, if they create this army, it's not, even if it's never goes to war, it's something even America will have to respond to. I mean, the introduction of this brand new army across the whole of Europe,
Yeah.
politically, it's suicide.
Yeah, definitely a little authoritarian.
Well, I mean, they're allowed to have a defense force. The individual countries are, that is. But if they merge it all together into a giant, man, that would be a pretty big military, right? How many countries are in the EU?
24, or no, 26 with us in it, and 25 and left. But you have to remember, a lot of these countries ain't very big, and a lot of them are quite poor. So its size is still not going to be anything that'll ever threaten the likes of America. But it's the fact that they're coming together to push an agenda that's going to be the worrying thing.
Yeah, especially for Eastern Europeans. And Germany, this was said by the Polish foreign minister, Germany should consider paying Poland as much as $1 trillion of World War II reparations. So, yeah, they're going after a whole fucking trillion. Oh, God.
Well, if you're going to do it right.
Yeah.
What is that, like triple the GDP of Poland at the time? Like, how is that reparations? It should be their GDP at the time of conquest.
Well, their GDP at the time of conquest was probably about 50p, you know, so...
God. Poor Poland.
Well, no, Poland put up... Well, no, they didn't. Never mind.
Were you going to say they put up a defense?
Well, they tried. I mean, bless their hearts.
Quite frankly, at the minute, there's more Polish here than in fucking Poland, so...
Yeah, I'm part Polish, so...
Fucking immigrant.
Wait, do I get some of that reparation money?
Yeah, I want some. I'll take a blood test to make sure I'm Polish. I'm not, but, you know, might as well try.
DNA test. They're like, yep, 0.2% Polish. I want some money.
Yeah.
Look that shit up. So I was hoping Cabbage would jump right back in. I'm not sure. But
I don't think it's the control board. He keeps going on about this control board. It's his PC or his internet connection. It has nothing to do with the control board.
When I start the hangout, the control board is always on the side, and it says control room. And I don't even use it unless someone's really quiet. I turn them up. Other than that, I haven't touched it.
I literally never touch the control room ever. There's literally no need for me to do it. So I don't know what's going on.
It's definitely his computer.
Yeah.
Because no one else has a problem.
Yeah.
mean, even 40s, you know, built with duct tape is no problem. Like,
Oh man, on
well,
that
you did
stream
say
last
40 you bought it out a cheap laptop, like, and had to get it fixed. So
Yeah, I had to get it fixed, unfortunately. I mean, it's all good now. Everything's fucking fine.
Oh, okay. So I just checked the chat. So Stories said, nobody has a problem paying Poland back. Question is, what about the German territory in Poland? Do we get this back then too? Good question. I don't know how much territory you're talking about. Link is up above in the chat. I threw it out there. Stories, if you want to jump on. Brexit's a European issue, so for you actually living there and in Germany of all places, your input would be welcomed. You may join if you want. Like half of Poland, he said. Wow. Would
Yeah.
Poland give up half their damn territory? I don't think so. You're gonna have to take it, Germany.
Yeah, it's pretty much the it's pretty much the entire like western part of Poland, and ethnically speaking, all those people are pretty much Germans. So, you know, I don't know why Poland wants it. I mean, for fuck's sake.
Well, is there economic reasons, kind of like Catalonia?
I mean, I suppose there's like iron deposits or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, it might even not be within the political interest of Merkel to adopt western parts of Poland, seeing as how Poland in general is so extremely anti-immigrant. If she were to adopt the western part of Poland, I'm just spitballing here, I don't fucking know, but if she were to adopt the western part of Poland, she might be facing a scenario where the southernmost and easternmost parts of this new Germany, this new, you know, you've got the new German Empire, right? They might actually have enough seats to overthrow her. You know, I don't know what the precise scenario is looking like, but you know, it might look something like that.
Yeah. My question would be, if Germany tried that, then the whole world is going to just explode yelling "Greater Reich, Greater Reich." Like they're going to be like, "This is a repeat of you know when." Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, and I really would see no point. I would see no point in paying reparations to Poland either. That should have been in the peace treaty at the end of the war. Sorry, Poland, you missed your shot. But also, you're in the EU, and if they're creating a massive EU army, and they're pretty much gonna unify, like officially, the entire area, why would you even care? It's all your territory. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. Anything could happen, dude. Anything could happen.
But yeah, I have an article pulled up about Brexit. Okay, so are we closer to a deal? Fractionally, all sides now say they expect a breakthrough before the next council meeting in December, which is fortunate because that is when British businesses say they will run out of time to jump ship. Hinting at how the deadlock could be broken by then, Theresa May was careful not to rule out offering more money. See, like, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what that article was talking about, Voice, but in public, Theresa May is not ruling out offering more money than what they initially offered, which was the 20, I think, billion. It's the pound symbol or the euro symbol, 20 BN. I don't know how much that is. I work with dollars.
well, it's a euro. They're looking. That's a euro. I'm looking at the article now. There's no way they're getting 60 fucking billion. Not a fucking chance. The people will turn on me like. She'd be out if she paid that 60 billion. She'd be out of office the next week.
Yeah,
It'll never happen.
Yeah, let's and okay, so I was at the 20. Okay, so some think Tusk is offering more than just a willingness to prepare for trade talks, a diplomatic throat clearing exercise known as scoping. I would like to reassure our British friends that in our internal work we will take account of UK proposals, said the president, in a formulation that sounded almost like he was offering a form of proximity talks. Almost, but not quite. The key difference between Tusk's plan and the tried and tested ruse of getting weary participants to sit in adjacent rooms is the absence of a mediator. Without an intermediary to exchange specific British offers for money for specific trade concessions, we are still at square one. And yeah, they triggered Article 50. How long ago, Voice? It's been months now, right?
No, it's only been, oh fuck. I'm sorry, I haven't got the best of memories. It was back in January, February, March or April, wasn't it? No, May. It was May. So that's May, June, July, about 4 months ago.
Yeah, I don't know why it's taking so long. Article 50, they should just be able to leave, right? Flat out.
It's the government. They never do anything quickly. They're going to make
Which
sure
I
they
usually...
get... No, go ahead, sir.
Oh, I was just saying, I usually like that. That's why I like the American system, checks and balances. But
well, you see, it's not checks and balances. It's dragging their fucking feet. I mean, when they says, right, we're going to trigger Article 50, they should have had a paper drawn out. We want this on one side. This is what you're getting on the other, and that's it. And then discuss that, and then come up with agreement within a month. It should never take this long. Everything to do with fucking politics takes months or years to do one simple fucking thing that two normal people could do down the pub over a beer. You know, that's why I hate that shit, because it's always, oh, we have to do this and we have to. No, just do your fucking jobs a bit quicker. Sorry, went a wee bit of a rant there.
It's okay.
Oh, welcome, Torsten.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Pretty good. I hope we didn't slander Germany too much for you.
No. I'm the first to blame Germany, so no problem at all. No, the Poland thing was pretty interesting. I had to give my comment on that because, yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's why I invited you in. Expand upon that. And do you think what I said is kind of true? If you guys did take the territory, don't you think the world would be screaming Greater Reich, as in what Hitler's plan was? You know?
Yes, of course. No, and it was clearly a joke. I mean, Poland would never ever agree on it, and Germany would never fight for it. So the thing is, there were 2 points. One right after the war, and then I don't know, maybe 20 years from ago, where we had negotiations about reparation payments from Germany to Poland, and Poland always said, like, we are even, it's all fine. So, and they can't come up now, like 70 years after the war, and request repayments for that. That's ridiculous. I mean, and German politicians treat it like that. It's like, it's more a joke that they said it.
Oh, that's weird, because over here it looks pretty serious. It's like, yeah, we want to sue Germany for a trillion euros. It's like, oh,
yeah, like I said, nobody has a problem with it. When we get our territories back, then no problem. But that will never happen.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I love that point, because that's the same point I made. Was you should have went for this during peace negotiations. I get it. That, you know, Britain, America, and Russia pretty much controlled that negotiation. Poland didn't really have a voice, but they should have tried a little harder to leverage America against Russia or something, because Poland was just taken by Russia completely, right? They didn't stand it.
Yeah. Like Eastern Germany, it was same status.
Oh, really? I didn't think they were split in half like that.
No, I mean, Poland was completely controlled by Russia, and so was Eastern Germany. Eastern Germany and Poland, that was pretty much the same thing, completely under the control of Russia. And the Polish, they hate the Russians. They really deeply hate them. I have some friends from Poland, and they are really, when it comes to Russians, then they freak out completely.
I can imagine why. I mean, communist rule for, I don't even remember how long, is a good enough reason to hate any country.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if it was because of communism. It was more like they were completely controlled by the Russians, and that was pretty. All of the history was like a really totalitarian state. So they couldn't do or say anything almost. So yeah, they were quite pissed, and I can understand it. Eastern Germany, the people from Eastern Germany, they all hate the Russians too. It's the same thing. They are not necessarily against communism. That is a whole different topic, but they hate the Russians.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying there. I made a comment earlier, I think before you were in the chat, that I believe Germany won through peace what they couldn't win through war. Do you agree with that comment I made, or do you disagree with me, and why?
No, I agree. I mean, I always like to say, like, Germany won the war. Yeah, and obviously we didn't. Yeah, but in fact, it was really good for Germany because we could rebuild everything. And we participated so much from the war that we started that it was almost ridiculous. I mean, everybody supported us after the war. Yeah, without the help of America, we couldn't grow that fast. And the British, and I mean, all our enemies supported us after the war.
Yeah, no, and Cabbage, you're back. If you're able to talk, go ahead. No? All right. Yeah, 40, if you have something to say.
No, I just got back. I just stepped away for a second.
Okay.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
Yeah, so how is the sentiment inside Germany about Brexit? Are they okay with it, or are they
no, the most Germans are against Brexit. I mean, it was not our decision. So, but the most Germans don't like it, and the German press is completely against Brexit. And what I really hate is that they never show the British perspective on things. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there are some good points of the British. Yeah, I'm against Brexit too, but I understand many of the points the Britons made. And you never hear this perspective in the German press. Never, ever.
And you have to kind of go on YouTube and watch like either news channels or like streaming channels like mine to actually get a perspective from both sides.
Yeah, I mean, you can read The Guardian, then you get the British perspective. Mm-hmm. Right? When you read The Guardian, then you have the British perspective, but you never get this.
The Guardian is the far left attitude.
You want the Daily Caller.
I wouldn't call the Guardian far left. They are maybe a little bit left wing, but yes, not far left.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I know how. I mean, let's be honest. Almost all of Germany is far left.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
So you're not putting people in prison for tweeting. Your entire journalism isn't completely against anything that's not EU. You are far left, sir. I'm sorry.
No. So well, let's say it this way: it's a matter of perspective. I mean, it depends on how far right you are. So yeah.
Oh, I'm openly admit I'm about one step away from being Hitler's nephew. So
I didn't know he finagled with Irish people, or Irish women, I should say, not people.
There's a lot you don't know about Grandpa.
No, boys, but with all respect, I mean, you are pretty far on the right side. Yeah, and not like Nazi or something, but you are very conservative and very much on the right side. And of course, from that perspective, everybody seems left for you, but that is not the most reasonable view on things.
Well, it's a lot more reasonable than the left. I mean, let's put it this way. Let me ask you a question, lad. Do you support the invasion of your country by illegal immigrants?
Well, technically, they're not illegal.
And they are not invading. And they are not invading. So, yeah.
Yes, well, an invasion, violence happening, and violence happening. So, are you for that or against it?
Well, let me put a caveat on that. So, when you have a large refugee immigration from Middle East countries that are diametrically opposed to Western ideals, and most of the people coming in are our fighting age, we're talking 18 to 35 and male, and they are forming rape gangs, then it is kind of an invasion from my perspective. And I wouldn't consider myself on the right. I think libertarians are more in the middle, because I agree with a lot of left ideas like personal liberty, legalizing drugs, legalizing prostitution. Those are not Republican ideas. They're not right-wing ideas. But this influx of fighting-aged Middle Eastern men into your country cannot be a good thing if you want to stay German, perhaps, or stay even European.
Well, I stay German. I mean, we can have like, I don't know, 100 million Arabs here. That's not changing my heritage. I stay German. And it's still my decision if I want to fuck a German girl or a Arabic girl. You know what I'm saying? It's not changing me. So they are not changing my heritage. And
well, I think he... Oh, sorry, go on.
And they are not taking over the country. I mean, Germany is a country of about 90 million people, and we are talking about 1 million refugees here. Yeah, so we can't say they are taking over or anything. So that's why I don't like the term they take over our country. They don't do it.
So, well, no, you're totally right. I mean, here's one thing. Invasion is a far more aggressive term. What people mean in all actuality is that there is I don't want to say a complete loss of sovereignty, but that you do stand a chance of losing a bit of political sovereignty, because do these people coming in, do they not have different ideals? What happens when they wake up one day and say, right, just like in Sweden, we shall form a party for Muslim rights and everything like this. Well, I mean, you know, what do Muslim rights entail aside from, you know, being extraordinarily anti-gay and, you know, not allowing women to drive? And, you know, I think they're talking about not an invasion, but a kind of swinging of the morals that once made Germany Germany.
But and also, to just clarify what I mean, I don't mean this generation right now, but these people are never going to leave. They're going to stay, and they're going to reproduce, and quite a bit, actually. They're kind of like Catholics in that regard. So 1, 2, 3 generations down the road, Germany will not look the same, sir. Your great-grandchildren are not going to live in the same Germany that you grew up in.
Obviously, no, you are totally right. I completely agree with you. But that is the way life works. I mean, nothing is static. Every society changes over time, and we can see that for 3,000 years.
The problem with that is that it's not changing over a large span. It's not like, you know, America, which has changed over generation after generation. This is going to change within a single generation. And that is the problem. It is completely flipping it on its head. It is a social and moral gentrification of Germany.
Again, Bradley, we are about 90 million Germans, and we have about 1 million refugees. That is not changing anything. And probably half of them have to go after a few years. So
who's going to force them to go, though?
yeah,
Merkel doesn't want them gone.
Pardon me?
Merkel doesn't want them gone.
Of course she wants them to go. Yeah. Merkel switched her course completely. She made a 180 degrees turn. Completely.
Yeah,
so
she went back on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Merkel is not the same Merkel like 2 years ago. Absolutely not. She changed her position on refugees completely.
I'm not calling you a liar, but do you have like something to show that? Like anything?
We are not letting immigrants into the country anymore. Not immigrants, refugees. The numbers have dropped from, I don't know, 100,000 per month down to less than 1,000.
Right, but Germany also lost count of how many immigrants came in. For a short span of time.
No, absolutely not. Germany works completely different in that respect. You can't be in Germany when you don't have proper papers. That is simply impossible. You don't get money from Social Security. You don't get housing. You can't rent a flat. You can't get a work. You can't do anything in Germany if you don't have proper paperwork. That's the way we are. And most Germans hate it, but that's the way we are. We don't have a problem with illegal immigration in Germany at all.
Well, it's because none of it's illegal, though.
Yeah, if we totally opened up the floodgates, we wouldn't call it illegal immigration either.
It would still just be a problem, though.
No, here's my problem, right? Right, you have 1.2 million. Now, they're never going to leave. I don't care. If you think your politicians are that good, then you're living in La La Land, because 99% of politicians on this planet are fucking retarded. But in the space of one generation, you're going to have 1 million Muslims go to about 3 or 4 million Muslims. That's more mosques, more of their religion dominating in small areas where they're going to accumulate together. They're not going to integrate. And so over time, you're going to have parts, probably cities, just like a good example is London.
Do you know that the third biggest Turkish city in the 70s and 80s was Berlin? It was Ankara, it was Istanbul, and it was Berlin. Berlin was the third biggest Turkish city, and it was outside of Germany, outside of Turkey. And all these Turkish people in Berlin, they are completely integrated. They don't care about their religion. They are, on paper, they are still Muslims, but they don't care about their religion, and they behave exactly like Germans. They are more Germans.
Yeah, but women in Iraq, or was it Iraq or Iran, had almost complete freedom, and then look what happened.
Yeah.
Got flipped on its head. Just because something was one way in the past doesn't mean that it's, still that way.
Exactly, and as a society, you have to work on it.
Right, but just to say that Berlin, the Turkish people that were in Berlin, they were integrated well, and they blended right in. Well, yeah, that may have been back in the day, but nowadays that just does not happen with the Islamic culture.
There's no proof to it.
All right, so MC in the chat said, yeah, they're integrated until they kill their daughter for, infringing upon the honor of the family. And that's even happened in America.
Yes.
We don't have the refugee problem, though. These are legal immigrants that are doing this in America. You have a giant influx of these Middle Eastern tribalistic ideals that are very, very, their religion is so overblown, it consumes their entire existence. So they're going to still have Sharia law. They're still going to have honor killings. And when that gets to be a drastic issue, what do you believe your government's going to do about it, if anything?
No, at first, MC is right. We have this honor killings here, and that is a problem. I wouldn't deny that, and that is like a typical Islam society problem. I would agree on that too, but it is so rare. Yeah, I mean, you have killings in every society, if it's a Christian society or Islamic society.
There are killings, but the killings are drastically skewed towards the Muslim faith, not the Christian faith. When was the last mass Christian killing that happened?
The last mass Christian killing? I don't get it.
Of a Christian committing a mass killing.
Like in Norway 2 years ago? Where
in any first world country.
They're killing Christ all the time. I mean, what happened in Vegas? That was not a religious or political motivated crime.
Wait a minute.
How is that a religiously motivated crime?
Okay, well, it might have been if he was working for ISIS, but that's not what I'm talking about. Okay, so like religious motivated crime when the Christians are blowing up abortion clinics and stuff like that, not killing their daughter for kissing a boy.
No, Torsten, I'm confused. How do you think that the Vegas crime was a religiously motivated crime?
No, I said it was not religiously motivated, not motivated by religion.
Right, and I asked for what was the last Christian-fueled mass killing.
Okay, then okay, it's a fair question, but then I would say that our new religion in the Western modern world is not like the classic religions anymore. Our religion is economy. Our religion is capitalism, and we are killing in the name of capitalism millions of people, millions.
Who are you killing in the name of capitalism?
Yeah, like, we have how many wars at the moment? Seven different
capitalism.
countries.
There's reasons for war. It could be political. It could have to do with resources. Don't say capitalism. I mean, come on.
No, I would say that war is because of the industrial military complex, not because of capitalism in of itself. And the military industrial complex is not pure market capitalism. It is purely governmentally controlled.
And I'm looking at I want to say this one thing about honor killings. In 1998 in Germany, there was 12. Last year, there was 60. And I had the names all in front of me.
Oh my God.
60.
Yeah,
so,
might be possible.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, the whole refugee community has about a 1% lower crime rate than the average German.
Oh, fuck off. No, we already know that they don't. The amount of information that has been brought out, if you watch Dr. Lehmann, or he has went in through all the details on people, the immigrants are the one causing the most of the crime.
Yeah.
Don't say they're the lower crime.
Sorry, but I don't care what some dubious right-wing person says.
He has the facts. He has your government's own numbers. Your government's own numbers show that immigrants are causing the majority of the crime.
No, they don't. They simply don't.
He leaves all the links to the government official statistics.
The police,
go and look at them.
The police reports say something completely different.
You're going to test the far left news in Germany? Oh, wow.
I have a question for you, though. Torsten, when they are coming in, are they segregating themselves into areas like they're doing in France, or are they immigrating into society and dispersing?
No, at the moment they are in kind of, how to say that, camps is a bad word, but like they are in kind of refugee camps, but camps is not really the perfect description, but all the housing is provided by the state.
So they're like in ghettos, basically.
Yeah, that's a nasty word, but it's kind of close.
Well, no, it's a community of one type of people living in the same area.
Yeah, that maybe is true in a way, yeah.
Well, see, when you self-isolate like that, that's when a lot of the radicalization has happened. Like with the attacks in France, for instance, they are isolating amongst the community.
France is a different. France is a different country, in a different situation. I cannot talk about France because I don't have a clue about France.
That's fine, but there are also similarities to be seen from other countries.
Well, yeah, and my point would be it's the same Muslim refugee population that's coming into France, that's coming into Germany. So it would be a fair comparison, in my opinion.
Like I said, France is a different situation, and in France, I mean, France has a different crime problematic than Germany. I mean, the French people in general, I'm not talking refugees here, but French in general, they like to protest in a fairly aggressive way. And in Germany, you see that, but you see that rarely. Like on the G20, there you saw some violent protests going on. But in France, you see that on a regular basis. France is different from Germany.
Well, absolutely. Of course it is. It's a different culture and a different country. But the fact remains that the same pool of immigrants are going into Europe in all these areas.
That is true, yes.
So the ideas that they're bringing with them from their home country are not necessarily the same. They are individuals.
Yes, but they are meeting different people, because in France, you have the whole problem with the people from Algeria and the French war on Algeria. So they are pretty much radicalized against France. And you don't have these people here in Germany. Here in Germany, the Muslim people we have here, they came as workers. So they have a completely different background.
That may be it. Yeah, that could be a fair point. I don't know exactly what you're referring to. So,
you know that the French wars in Algeria.
Another thing with the Brexit, because it's not only over refugees, it's also economic reasons that Britain wants to leave. And we were talking about the EU army quite a bit. I would like to hear your thoughts on that. So Great Britain stopped the EU from having a military, I believe, at least twice. It might be more than that. I'm sure Voice could enlighten me on that one. How do you feel as a citizen of Germany about the militarization of the European Union? Do you believe that's a good idea? Or do you believe that that's a bad one?
It's an extremely difficult point, because my personal view is not reflecting the German view. I'm against military whatsoever. Yeah, so I can't say I'm supporting the idea of a European military, because I would ask myself, for what? For what do we need it? But I understand the concept behind it. I understand why people are promoting this idea. See, we have like especially in Germany, we are afraid that there is another war in Europe. So the German idea behind it is, if we have one army, then a single country within Europe can't start a war, because they don't have their own army. It's a European army.
Well, what's to stop the European army from going to war with another country?
Yeah, within Europe it wouldn't be possible. With another country it would be possible.
No, I mean even if the European Union, you know, for some reason or another, right, they decide, you know what, we've had enough of the Czech people not joining us. We're just going to hostily take them over.
Yeah, that would not happen in a million years. I'm afraid of something different.
How do you know it would not happen?
Because nobody in Europe wants war, and definitely no German wants war. I can tell you that. That is for sure. So
Yes, but
I see another.
You have too much faith in your system.
Not in our system. I know how Germans are and how Germans.
No,
think.
what I'm saying is you have too much faith in your system to say that the state will not go to war if it becomes a universal state across Europe. You have too much faith.
Maybe yes.
Let me ask you,
because when you pull all the resources of all these different countries, regardless of the fact that, first of all, countries that speak multiple languages, it's been proven to fail. It happened with the Prussians. All right, they had a difficulty having conversations, just trying to get orders across when they were fighting against the East. Okay, so when you have that with all these other countries going to war with whatever country it is that they're going to war with, right? You already have a communication problem. Talking about enforcing it against the people, there's not going to be a problem because you have every single country's military might pushed into one unit, and they can enforce it wherever they want. Doesn't matter if they speak the language, they're just there to do a job. They're just there to crack some skulls.
Yeah, but that's purely based on speculation, Bradley. I mean, I understand your point.
Okay, well, look at the UN. What's the UN supposed to do?
Well, the UN...
Just what does the UN do? What do they do?
Yeah, I mean, there are many things they have to do, and so yeah, I can't answer that with one sentence. So
okay, I'll say it. Their thing is they're supposed to maintain national peace, right? They're supposed to broker these different deals and stuff, right?
Yes.
They have the peace. They have the peacekeepers, right? Now the peacekeepers are armed, and yet for some reason they aren't very good at keeping the peace. It seems wherever they go, there seems to be a lot of warfare. They don't cause the warfare, but they sure aren't stopping it.
Yes, they are sure not stopping it. Right, yeah.
So how come a bunch of countries coming together like that can't stop the wars that are going on with peacekeepers, yet it's a good idea to bring them all together and make a unified army?
But you can't compare the United Nations with Europe. That's a whole different thing.
No, you can compare them because it is a organization of countries coming together to form one systematic unit, okay? And it does not work because they all have different ideals, and if one of them comes into power, it is going to go south fast.
Bradley, but then you should remember the First Korean War. And that was a UN mission. I mean, this war was basically fought by American troops, but it was a UN mission. It was not an American mission. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think we should have gotten involved in Korea.
I agree, but that is not the point. You said that like one big organization cannot make this decision. Yes, they can if they really want. And the UN proved that. And the same is true for Europe. But the point is, and that is why I am against the European army, there is no threat. There is simply no threat against Europe. And so what do we need an army for? Nobody is threatening us.
See, that is the point. They don't need an army because the EU doesn't want anyone to uprise. That's the whole thing, is they're going to see it if they get too authoritarian, right? They get too, dictatorship, and the people decide to rise up. Well, how are they going to stop it? Well, we'll just make an army and we'll just beat the living shit out of them.
Oh shit, you beat me to it, Bradley. That's what I was going to say, man. You know what they need an army for? To keep people like the UK from leaving the Union. That's what they need it for.
Your microphone messed up pretty much. So.
Just before anybody speaks, Thorsten, I just want you to know that even though I've disagreed with you, it's nothing personal. I like debate. I just don't want you thinking I'm attacking you.
Same for me. I don't have a problem.
Same here.
I'd hate to offend you, you know.
No, it's the same for me. So disagreeing does not mean I don't respect your opinions on certain things. Mad Dog is back. Can you say it again, your last sentence? Because I could barely understand you.
If I'm clear now, maybe I was speaking too loud. This crappy mic cracks up when I like raise my voice. All right, so I was saying Bradley beat me to it. That's what the EU needs a military for, is to crack down on countries wanting to leave said EU. Kind of like the UK right now. You think they'd be leaving if they had a European army based inside their borders saying, no, you can't fucking leave?
That is actually something I'm terrified too. Yeah, I don't see the European Union like invading or starting a war against another country outside the EU, but having military pressure on a country within the EU. That is a scenario I think that could be possible. Yes, I would agree on that.
I mean, I can see them doing already. I mean, they were already threatening, what was it, Poland and Hungary with sanctions because they weren't taking refugees. You think if they didn't have an army, they wouldn't just go in there and make them take them?
No, I don't think so. That is, I wouldn't think so. But like a conflict like in Spain with Catalonia, I could imagine that this conflict could become a European conflict all of a sudden, and not a Spanish conflict if we had a European army. So that is my problem. Myself, I'm against an army whatsoever, but I know that the European people think about it differently. So I have to kind of tell you what they think about it. My opinion is not representative.
See, the whole thing with Catalonia, that's not going to last, all right? Here's the way I see it. Catalonia can have their independence. Let them have it. Because it's not going to last very long. Because they're going to have to renegotiate trade deals. They're going to have to apply for EU representation, which they're not going to get because Spain's going to shoot them down. They're going to have to suffer with all the taxation and all the other things that come along with being a country. And then they're going to come crawling back to Spain because they can't afford anything.
Bradley, yeah, the thing is, you underestimate the danger that is coming from a Catalonian independence. The thing is that Spain is an extremely large country within the EU, and they are not doing too well in economic terms at the moment. Catalonia is the strongest region of Spain. So if Catalonia declares independence, that could, I'm not saying it must, but it could lead to an economic crash within Spain. When Spain crashes, it is such a big country that the European Union, they can't bail them out like Greece. Greece is like a miniature country that is easy to bail out. Germany can bail them out. But the whole EU cannot bail out Spain. That is a whole different story. So
well, you shouldn't have to bail them out in the first place. You shouldn't even be required to bail them out.
But that is another topic. But the situation at the moment is that if Spain's economy crashes, and it is very likely that they will crash if Catalonia declares independence, then the whole European Union is fucked. And that is the problem with it.
Well, part of the problem is a unified currency. Unified currencies are the bane of fucking existence.
I totally agree. But still.
I mean, there's really nothing else to say other than if that currency was gone, there wouldn't be this problem because they'd be able to separate without any real pressure, and then Catalonia would fail and they'd come back.
I totally agree, but we have this currency. We cannot say what if. We have this currency, and that's the situation we have to deal with. And at the moment, it is really terrifying what happens with the whole European Union if Catalonia leaves. Well, because they could never ever enter re-enter the EU again, because Spain would always vote against it.
Well, this is my problem with the EU from the start. When it was the EEC, just a trading alliance, it was brilliant. But
Yes.
now everything's so together that it's a domino effect. If one falls, everybody falls. And the EU
Exactly.
politicians put the people on the ground in that position. The politicians fuck people.
Yeah, you're totally right. I agree with you. That is the only reason why the UK can leave the European Union, because they still have their own currency. Without the British pound, there would be no way to leave the European Union. So the British, or Mrs. Thatcher, now it was not Mrs. Thatcher, but the British were smart to keep the pound.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more with that. Any other thoughts on the Brexit idea, or should we wrap it up and give our last words?
I mean, the Brexit. I mean, it's everything we say today. Everything is based on speculation. I mean, there were a few predictions that some industries will leave the country. And we see that with the banking system, and that will have a very dramatic effect on the UK. Let's see what happens in the next year. I mean, for a manufacturing company, it's way more difficult to leave the country, and we will see what will happen. But all the banking is already moving to Frankfurt. And the banking is 10% of the British GDP. And that is dramatic when they leave. So let's see. But it's all based on speculation at the moment.
Well, Torsten, you brought up the industry. Well, the thing is, the industry needs to know, the British industry needs to know if the Brexit is going to go through by December. That's really soon. So I can
barely hear you. I can barely hear you, Matt.
He said that the British industry needs to know if Brexit's going to go through by the end of December, which is like 2 months away.
Well, what do you mean by go through? I mean, the Brexit is triggered, and there will be.
It's been triggered, but it's been delayed. It's been delayed for so long.
No, the negotiations are delayed because there are practically no negotiations at the moment.
Right, and because there haven't been any negotiations, they haven't technically Brexited yet.
You know,
no, the Brexit...
Article 50. Now, Article 50 took 8 months to trigger. Right, they delayed it by 8 months. Now, Theresa May has said it's a 2-year process to begin with. They delayed it for a year, effectively. And now that she's saying that she's going to delay it for another 2 years, they're waiting for
another 2 years, additional 2 years.
Yes, yeah, it's called the transition period. Yes, this is what she's doing. Everything she possibly can to undermine it.
Yeah, I mean, when you trigger this when you trigger this article, then you have to wait 2 years before you are really left out of the EU. Yes, that is a normal process.
Unless the 27 other countries agree to extend it. But she's going for an extra 2 years anyway on this transition concept.
Okay.
She's not representing the people. The people said get us the fuck out, and she's doing everything she can to remain because she believed in Remain to begin with. She was never a Brexiter.
Cabbage,
let me ask you, Cabbage.
Let me ask
British
you
people. I'm sorry.
Let me ask you one question, only to have it very clear. She wants another additional 2 years?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So you get she waited 8 months, then started the process, which takes 2 years, then said she wants another 2 years, which could be a transition period.
Oh my goodness.
She's doing everything she can to undermine the fucking process. Disgraceful. But then again, why would we be surprised? You know, she was a Remainer. She hasn't had a heart in it to begin with. She's a European Unionist. So fuck her and the horse she rode in on.
Frankly, I'm surprised that the people haven't done something about it yet, Cabbage.
No, people have.
Everybody is angry.
No, I mean do something about it, not just talk about it or anything like that. I'm talking about
No, people have demonstrated.
overthrow.
They just don't get reported. Yeah, but they don't get reported. When there's demonstrations of a type that isn't acceptable, it just doesn't get reported on, unless it's, you're going through YouTube or you're going through the, independent media. But the mainstream media doesn't report on these things. I know most people are totally pissed off. I mean, certainly everyone who voted Brexit is absolutely fucking sick and tired of this nonsense.
So why haven't they ousted the people that are holding this back?
And really, truly respect the Catalonians. Well, that's the whole point, right? Theresa May is living on fucking borrowed time. So that's the great thing about what we have.
But the thing is,
we have the parliamentary system, so we can replace our leader. We don't have to, indict them or whatever it is in America they have.
But the problem, I agree on
but
things.
we can just vote them out. They can actually get voted out by the party because we vote for the party, not the person.
Yeah, I agree, Cabbage, on many things you say about Theresa May. But the thing is, nobody in the European Union wants to negotiate with her. And that is part of the problem. She wants to negotiate, but everybody is blocking it, especially Juncker. Juncker is blocking everything that comes from May. And it's not her fault. That's what I'm saying.
But wait a minute, though. How is it not her fault when literally can't she just do a hard Brexit and just leave right now if they wanted to? Is that not an option?
I heard hard Brexit an option. Have you said, isn't a hard Brexit an option?
Yeah, but it's not.
It is not. I see it the same way like Cabbage. You can't pull a hard Brexit.
See, I don't see why you can't pull a hard Brexit.
Because it is economic suicide.
How?
Because you don't have any economic treaties. So how can you survive? You pay full taxes on everything, on imports, on export. It is, you are dead.
Why? All you're doing is you are pulling out the people that are in power, replacing them with people that actually want the Brexit.
It is not
and
about,
there you go.
It is not about political power. It is about the economics. When you pull a hard Brexit, then you have basically the same situation, not as hard, but almost the same like in Venezuela. And the same thing more or less would happen to the United Kingdom. So that is suicide. You can't have a hard Brexit.
Well, the problem with Venezuela was trying to do a socialistic idea completely.
Yeah, but Venezuela is completely how to say it? They can't trade with anybody. They are like economically blocked. And they are completely on their own, and that is the problem with Venezuela. It's not the socialists. The socialists are also a problem. I wouldn't deny that, but they can't have any trade with any other country, and that is the most devastating problem there. And if Britain would pull a hard Brexit, then it would be the same situation. And in my opinion, because it can't be in the interest of the European Union to have such a situation with England, but I have the feeling that they are trying exactly that, to make them completely afraid that they have a hard Brexit, and then in the end they agree on everything. And that is, in my opinion, at the moment, a little bit the game that the EU is playing.
I personally don't think it should be off the table. I think it should always be an option.
Yeah, and to say that America wouldn't trade with the UK just because they did a hard Brexit.
If they did a hard Brexit, they would become one of our best trade allies ever. Because they're separating from people that don't have our best interests.
What can England or the United Kingdom trade with America?
I don't know.
their
I don't know what
industry.
England exports or not, but there's obviously
Exactly.
something considering they do deals with other countries.
Exactly. They are not exporting much. They have a massive trade deficit. That is
Okay,
what's happening at the moment.
So they leave, and now they can do trade with the USA and with Russia, so they no longer have to worry about getting their natural gas. And then there's all, we can get steel to them from the US. We can do trade with the European countries, take items, trade with the UK.
Sure. And that will happen. Yeah, sure.
So it's not economic suicide.
It is,
I mean,
definitely.
Well, I think voice and cabbage would be a little low on French wine for a while, but we got California vineyards. I think it's all.
The way I see it as you're portraying, Torsten, is it would be a temporary depression.
Yes.
And that is not economic suicide.
But
America has come
massive.
out of two or three or depressions.
Well, there was the big one in 1928.
Yeah, I know about that one. Then there was the one in 09. I don't remember if we were in another one between that or not.
That the depression in 28 took 10 years and a world war to come over it.
Yeah, because of failed leftist politics. Don't get me started on FDR, sir.
It's like this in the long run. When we leave, in the short term it's bad for us, but in the long term it's better for us. Whereas for the EU, it's good in the short term, but bad in the long term.
Yes, I totally agree on that. And I can understand every reason why the UK pulled out of the European Union, but in the short term, it will be disastrous. And that is the reason why I say
disasters. It'll be about 6 years ago when the start of the recession happened. It'll be something like that again. But again, if it means that 10, 20, 50 years from now the country's a lot better off, I have no problem living through the hard times.
Okay.
Right now it's a Band-Aid. You have to rip it off because the sooner you do it, the sooner you're through it.
Just remember the times of Margaret Thatcher, because
Sorry, go ahead, Torsten. My bad.
Margaret Thatcher was the person who joined the European Union. And remember the time when Margaret Thatcher took over, remember the economic situation in Great Britain at that time? It was disastrous. And that
but that was the time when the car companies were dying. That wasn't just all on her.
The car companies, the coal mines, everything. I mean, the whole country was basically shutting down. And then she joined the European Union, and that gave a huge push for the whole.
No, she didn't join the EU. She joined the economic market. She didn't actually join the EU. As
I think it was the EU.
EEC joined the Trading Alliance.
Is that true? Maybe I'm wrong. I have to look it up. Give me a second.
Well, and while you do that, I have a question. So Southern Ireland would still be in the EU, right? So why couldn't Southern Ireland trade directly with Northern, even if it was, black market, and prop up to keep them out of depression? Because Southern Ireland was still importing everything, right?
Well, you have to remember that Ireland and the UK are basically joined at the hip economically. I mean, if you look throughout history, a lot of the UK low-skilled jobs, a lot of people went from Ireland, and it happens every decade or so. They go to Ireland or go from Ireland to the UK to work and stuff like that. And when the recession happened, thanks to the EU and its fucking euro, the UK give Ireland I think it was 8 billion to keep them afloat. So we are tied together, and quite frankly, there's no need for the EU. If the EU puts sanctions on trading money or on trade between tariffs, sorry, on trade between the South and the North, it'll hurt the South more than the North. You know, we get the majority of everything from the UK, so it's going to hurt the South more than it hurts the North. So again, and since Northern Ireland is part of the UK and part of Ireland at the same time, I'm not sure how the legalities of it work out anyway. So it's a whole clusterfuck of a thing.
Yeah, I would imagine a black market
was
trade.
the one that joined the EU to was the president at the time when England joined the EU.
Sorry, Simone, say that again.
Edward Richard George Heath was the prime minister at the time whenever England joined the EU.
It's pronounced Heath.
Heath, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was prime minister from 1970 to 1974, and England joined the EU in 1973. So yeah.
Also, Matt, I think you're putting a little too much faith in the black market being this like holistic place. Like, I mean, in a couple countries, they were literally just selling dead people that had been chopped up because couldn't afford meat. Like,
Well,
just because the black market's there does not mean that it is going to be the best thing for the country.
Well, that's very true, but I'm talking about an actual exchange of real materials, not, dog meat and stuff. We're talking about infrastructure type deals where the South could still import from the EU and then turn around and sell it to Northern Ireland.
Right, but if you can't even afford to pay to feed the people that you're trying to get infrastructure to, how are you going to get them to actually build infrastructure?
I do believe England has farms, man. I do believe they could feed their own people.
Yeah, but do they have enough to feed the entire country?
How many Commonwealth countries are...
it is not only about feeding the people. I mean, an economy needs more than just feeding people. By the way, Xiaomi, you are right. I just looked it up. Mary Thatcher came 3 years later, after UK joined the EU. You are right.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, you also have the trade from Canada, which is still within the Commonwealth. I mean, the UK is not just England and Northern Ireland and Scotland. They have a large economy base to draw from themselves, which is why I think they are so confident in pulling out of the EU.
Yeah, but that was part of the problem, and that is a problem why so many British are really pissed, because they were denied to trade with their former colonies. So the UK couldn't trade with Canada before the European Union had the trade deal confirmed. So that is part of the reason why so many people in the UK are so angry about it, because they had all these great trade deals with Australia, with India, with all their former colonies.
But why wouldn't they be able to do that now if they were on their own and just...
Yeah, they are able to do it, yeah, of course. But they have to renegotiate with every single country, and that takes a long time.
Even within their own Commonwealth?
Well, Matt, there's also the fact that because a lot of those Commonwealth countries can be, stopped by the EU, they could run blockades.
Oh, well, a blockade is an act of war. I don't think the EU would go that far. A blockade, literally, under international law, is an act of war.
Right,
but if they have an army, it doesn't matter because it's a universal army. They do it regardless.
A trade blockade is not an act of war. If that would be true, then the United States would be in war with 20 countries. So, but I agree that the European Union would probably not do it.
I'm not talking about a sanctions type blockade where it's just words on a paper. I'm talking about ships off the coast.
Yeah, we're
okay,
talking
yeah,
about
okay.
legitimate, boots on ground blockade.
No, that will not happen in the European Union.
Yeah, maybe it's just...
you Torsten, you keep saying it'll never happen in a million years. These things have happened before.
Exactly. That's why nobody wants it again. We can all remember. We have all grandparents who can tell us how that looked like. The things that you probably don't know about Germany. We have a documentary about World War II in the television every day, and at least one. So every German knows exactly how Germany looked like after the war. Every German knows exactly what we did wrong.
We have that too. It's called the Military History Channel.
No, but seriously though, why would you watch that every day? And why would they be shoving it down your throats? At a point, you have to move on from World War II.
Remember, it was the Nazis. Can you really say it was Germany who conquered Europe? It was the Nazis.
Yeah, exactly. It was our fault. It was not the fault of somebody else. It was our fault. We started the whole madness.
No, the Nazis
No, you didn't. The Italians did.
Well, I believe the Treaty of Versailles after World War I started the whole mess, but that's just the way I read into the history.
I would agree, and so far I don't see like World War I and II too separated. I would agree on that. In my opinion, that was one war with a tiny peace period in between, but it was basically one and the same conflict. I would agree on that, but still, I mean, we were the aggressors, so.
But yeah, we've gone a little bit over 2 hours. I don't really want to stop yet, but the kids are freaking out in their room. They're supposed to be cleaning, so I'm going to have to go. So last thoughts, guys.
Thanks for having me on. It was a good chat. Plenty of good arguments had. That's always good.
Yeah, and Voice of One has a channel on YouTube. It is Voice of One. Go check him out. He does good work. He has a lot more real videos than I do, so good for you, Voice.
Aw, you're so sweet, Maud.
I already watched Voice videos, so I know his channel. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for inviting me, Mad Dog. Always nice to be here.
Yeah, and Saomi, I'm sorry we cut off. Like, you've only been here for like 20 minutes, but you do have a channel, right? So go ahead.
Yeah, I do have a channel.
Shout out your channel.
It's the same as my name, SAIYOMI.
Yeah, you want to tell everybody what kind of videos you do?
I'm gonna cover just about everything. Right now it's just little shit post things, but I'll be making real content pretty soon.
Any last thoughts on Brexit or anything else, Bradley? I don't believe you have a channel to shout out, so.
I don't. All I can say is, fuck the EU, needs to be disbanded. Fuck the UN, needs to be disbanded. Fuck Theresa May, hard Brexit.
Oh, yeah, mic drop right there. Nice. Thank you very much for watching. I may or may not do a red eye tonight. If not, I'll do one tomorrow. So, have a good day, everybody. Take it easy. We're out.